Now, the 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
On 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it.
I'm going to rock right now is what we're going to do. It's the 10-minute drill before we get into the sports headline. Well, what a good show we got today. Lots of cool stuff. Gators at Media Day yesterday. Dogs today. Training camp a week away. Mike DeRocco joining us in 10, 15 minutes. Steve Sands going to join me from the British Open in the 9 o'clock hour. I think we made it through the dog days, Beef. We're full on fun now. We haven't even gotten into Major League Baseball. That trade deadline is just barreling at you. So there's going to be a flurry of activity in Major League Baseball here for the next couple of weeks. So I took advantage yesterday, Beef, and yesterday afternoon into the evening. By the way, I'm sorry.
Introspection.
Yeah, well, hold on. I'm sorry to digress, but we talked about the Madden ratings and the people complaining. I'm watching ESPN right now, and Keenan Allen, who's a very good receiver for the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles, is just bemoaning.
Not happy.
Bemoaning. He's the 89th ranked receiver. Oh. That right there, that just discontinues Madden ratings. Listen, I'm not saying you got to be perfect on all of them, but if you think Keenan Allen is the 89th best receiver, you are, what's the word? Oh, stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're stupid.
Yeah, that's not good.
All right, well, anyway, now back off my digression. So I had a couple of, yesterday we finished up the Stranger Things, which is that still is just like the fevered show that it was. So yeah, it's like it has that kind of buzz, the Game of Thrones and the Breaking Bad and the Okay. A couple of things, and I won't give any spoilers because although I think most people, once you start watching those, you watch them, right? There's a couple things about Stranger Things I really like. I like that it's just 8 episodes a season. I like that. But more than anything, and again, I don't think this is a spoiler alert, especially if you watch the first 2, I like how it ends. I'm not saying I like the ending. I like how each season ends. You're not left with these just overwhelming questions moving forward. They tell a story and then they end the story.
They're confronted with an issue. They address it.
Correct. But I have a real problem. I mean, where are we at on the timeline here for spoilers, Beef? Can we reference anything specific about the show, you think, or no?
I don't believe so.
Okay, we should wait.
I think we should wait.
All right, we'll wait. I was very disappointing with one of, the situations at the end. That's all I'm saying. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you watched it?
I haven't finished it yet.
Oh, you haven't?
I'm still, we're going through it.
All right, well, that's a very, very good answer on your part. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I'll completely ruin it for Beef in the break. I'm kidding. All right, let's do the headlines. Don't worry, I won't.
Hateful.
I won't tell you. There's a development at the end of season 3 that made me sad. That's all.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Now it's just a tease. It's not a spoiler. We ready?
We're ready. By the way, Keenan Allen was not the 89th best wide receiver in the league. He was rated at 89.
Oh, I got you.
Which is like 10th in the league.
Well, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
They for the record, they had the graphic wrong because I can't hear him. I'm only reading it. My only source of information was reading. It said ranked 89th best. But whatever.
13th rated receiver in the league. Right out, sandwiched between AJ Green and same score as Amari Cooper or Julian Edelman.
Well, it's a pretty good company, if you ask me.
Yeah. Not much to complain about.
But is he 10 rating points less than?
Yeah, he's 10 ratings points less than
DeAndre Hopkins, that's silly.
Number 1.
Yeah, that part is dumb. They're a lot closer in talent than that.
Right. It doesn't matter, but
I know.
But again,
the players take it seriously. What did I say?
Yeah.
I got Keenan Allen driving along, giving a selfie video, explaining himself. All right, other headlines from the sports world. Oh, and when we're done, by the way, because we can, going to give you lunch or dinner for 2 at Chick-fil-A and a family 4-pack to the Jumbo Shrimp.
Kicking it off, Jeff. Like you said, we're like 2 weeks out from the Major League Baseball trade deadline. People are starting to speculate who's going to be a buyer, who's going to be a seller. There were whispers yesterday that several teams had scouts watching Noah Syndergaard's last start, including the New York Yankees. So, some years we have a flurry of activity, some years not so much. Do you feel like this is going to be one of those years where it's hot and heavy because there's so many teams in the mix?
Well, there is that. There's a lot of teams in the mix, and there's a couple or 3 quality pitchers that are there. I mean, Zach Greinke perhaps could be gotten from the Diamondbacks. Madison Bumgarner perhaps could be gotten from the Giants. Trevor Bauer perhaps could be gotten from the Indians. I mean, these are all guys who have pitched in the postseason in important games, and with Mad Bum and Bauer have won important games in the World Series even. So there's that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a flurry per se, but it's going to be. It'll feel like a flurry, I think, because of this. There is now a hard deadline now to get a player from another team. Now you have to actually do it by the trade deadline of July 31st. That there's always been a July 31st trade deadline, but then the month of August you can do waiver deals, and so important trades. If I went back and looked at postseason history and named all the important players who joined their postseason team in August, it'd be a long list. And that list is going to be cut to zero this year. So, yeah, I think there will be a flurry for a combination of factors. Maybe the most important, there is only one deadline. And if you want to, accentuate your roster, you have to do it in the next 15 days.
I mean, I think I know what your answer to this is, but, I mean, you're a Braves fan, and the Braves are clearly in the mix. They're atop the NL East. They're hot. They have their sights set on contending for a world title. So, in the next 2 weeks, if there's, one deal, you'd say we need to make this deal if we're going to go for the big brass ring.
I think, here's the problem with the big deal. It's what you give up. So
you've got assets. That's for sure.
A ton of assets. But you don't want to waste them, right? You
Right.
don't want to give up those assets. Look, if you knew for sure that if you traded 3 of your top 50 prospects, when I say top 50, not the Braves top 50, 3 of the top 50 prospects in baseball, plus a couple of, a Camargo and Inciarte or an Adam Duvall, those level players, and you're only going to get like Madison Bumgarner for the rest of this year, and then he goes into free agency. Is it worth it? Are you going to give up a top arm, 2 top arms, a top player prospect, and then a couple of major leaguers to get a guy for 2 months? And then what if he isn't nails in the postseason?
Right.
The Braves are still in that same situation that I talked to you about, and or that I talked about last offseason, when they did not make a whole lot of trades either, right? And people question the Braves. They were awful quiet in the offseason. All they really did was add Josh Donaldson for a 1-year deal. And I think the reasoning was you got 10 pitchers literally who are ranked among the top 100 prospects in baseball. Let's give it another year of growth and see where we're at. Well, I'm not sure we know where we're at. So is it Touki Toussaint you include? Is it Bryce Wilson? Is it Kyle Wright? Is it Ian Anderson? Is it Joey Wentz? Which of those guys do you need to try and dump off on them to get that top pitcher? All things considered, he scares me a little bit. Maybe Zach Greinke of the Diamondbacks, only because he is under contract for the next couple of years. If you go get Madison Bumgarner, who would be the prize because of his postseason track record, you got to understand that he's a free agent at the end of the year, and you may give up an awful lot to lose in the NLCS anyway.
Shifting gears, Jeff, you mentioned this during the football fix. The franchise tender signature deadline has passed. Jadeveon Clowney, not surprisingly, does not get a new deal with the Texans. It sort of mirrors the impasse or the at least stare down we seem to be having here with Yannick Ngakoue. Are you surprised that they didn't get a deal done? And do you feel like Clowney's the type of player that deserves what he's seeking, or was he overvaluing himself?
Well, the problem with Clowney is he's a very good player. Most people rank him as a top 100 player. I've mentioned that top 100 list from CBS earlier, and he was on that list. But he doesn't have the production. He doesn't get a lot of sacks. So it's kind of hard. I mean, do you pay a guy who averages 5 sacks a year? And we talked about Derek Morgan earlier retiring after 9 years. He had 44.5 sacks. That's like the pace that Jadeveon Clowney is on. Now, I'm not in Houston. We don't watch every Texans game, every snap. So I don't know where he's contributing outside of just the sack numbers, the quarterback pressures, and those things. So he's a number 1 overall pick, though. And the Houston Texans, I'm sure, want to keep him. So it's probably a matter of the price point. And, again, how much of the ego becomes involved in those things.
One of the big moves made at the NBA trade deadline 2 weeks ago, or when free agency opened 2 weeks ago, was the trade that ultimately wound up with Kevin Durant in Brooklyn and D'Angelo Russell in Golden State. Golden State signed Russell to a 5-year deal when they acquired him, and everybody thought that was they were going to, flip this thing like an asset. But Bob Myers yesterday said that's not their plan. They said we didn't sign him with the intention of just trading him. We haven't even seen him play in our uniform yet, and a lot of people have us already trading him. That's not how we are viewing it. Let's just see what we have. Let's see what he is. Let's see how he fits. Now, Daryl Morey said similar things about Chris Paul, and he's with the Thunder now. So are you buying Bob Myers' statement that the Warriors do not intend to flip D'Angelo Russell?
Well, I am, because Klay Thompson's status is completely up in the air next year. And, D'Angelo Russell, don't kid you, not near as big as Klay Thompson. That's one thing about Klay Thompson. He's like 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah.
When that shooting range and, the ability to knock down open shots help with that, 3 or 4 extra inches of height. But no, it doesn't surprise me at all. D'Angelo Russell emerged into an all-star last year. And you're losing Kevin Durant, and you don't have Sean Livingston, your backup guard. He's gone and done. And you don't have Klay Thompson for probably just about all year. So, no, it doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, I want an all-star guard in the backcourt with me.
And,
I saw, by the way, that for all you real NBA diehards, Brandon Clark, the kid from Gonzaga, was the MVP of the Summer League.
Summer League MVP, as the Grizzlies are champions
That's correct.
of the Summer League. They did it. Parade is, I believe,
By the way,
Thursday.
I've done some digging. I've been given a heads up, and I've done some digging. Speaking of Grizzlies, Grayson Allen was traded to the Grizzlies this offseason. He was kicked out of the game last Thursday.
Got a couple
for the flagrant fouls, but I'm not going to focus on that part of it. I'm going to focus on the way he was talked about and treated by Dan Dockich in particular on ESPN. I thought it went a bit too far, and we've got examples of that. But anyway, that's later.
Seems like the all eyes, as far as the basketball world go, though, are on Los Angeles, whether it be with the Clippers adding Kawhi or the Lakers moves with Anthony Davis. So the latest updated win projections from betonline.ag, you know him, you love him, it's one of our favorites. The Clippers have the league best over-under win total at 55.5. The Lakers at 51.5. I know you're not you're higher on the Lakers roster than some are. So do you feel like the Clippers are a full 4 games better than the LA Lakers?
I keep hearing, I was listening to National yesterday, and I keep hearing these basketball insiders and, beat reporters just laughing at anyone even thinking the Lakers are anywhere close to the Clippers. I don't understand it. I don't. There are 2 wild cards with LA for sure, but, DeMarcus Cousins also has the potential to be a 2010 guy. I mean, very quietly they picked him up. Now, he also brings a lot of baggage. Listen, this is all about LeBron and his passive-aggressive leadership. And so he could screw it up. That's for sure. He's messed with many an NBA player's mind through the years with his – the way he acted last year was very unprofessional. Cutting himself first, putting trade rumors on every player on his team, a young team at that, and then completely ignoring them for much of the year. Even in game, he goes sit by himself. So, I understand, but I will say this. You want to make a lot of money? Yeah, I'm taking under 55.5 for the Clippers. Understand Kawhi will sit 20 games. Don't forget that part, right? That was what worked so well for Kawhi in Toronto, is that he would sit, 20's exaggerating, but 10 games. So, and I don't understand this fascination with Paul George. I do realize that he averaged 28 points, like second or third leading scorer last year. But this assumption that Paul George is better than Anthony Davis? Does anyone, you think so?
No.
Yeah, right? But
Nobody thinks that.
They act like Anthony Davis to the Lakers is just a ho-hum. Anthony Davis is
a star.
A star.
A megastar.
We'll see. I can't make a dime bet that the Lakers will have a better record than the Clippers because there's just too much, unknown involved as far as rest time and others. But I think the Lakers are being poor-mouthed a little bit.
It seems that way. By the way, for what it's worth, win total projections for our clubs, Jeff?
I'm going to say the Hawks, it's 30.
Hawks leading the way at 32.5. The Bulls 2 games behind them at 30.5. And then there's Dan's beloved New York Knicks. No Zion, no problem. 27.5 wins.
Oof. Another fun year for Hick and the Knicks.
At MSG. Oh, yeah.
When is Dan? Didn't Dan go into a a Mets game? Like
Dan, I think he travels today. He's seen him against the Twinkies, and he's seen him in San Francisco.
okay, well, Twinkies in San Francisco. What a vacation!
What a treat.
All right, this is the drill. We will talk with Mike Duraco next, embedded reporter for ESPN and friend of the program.
I need a number, Jeffro.
His perspective. All right, D-Rock's phone number is caller number 3 right now, and you will take home the prize pack. Family 4-pack to the Jumbo Shrimp and lunch or dinner for 2 at Chick-fil-A. More Drill Radio next.